Welcome back to another episode of Meredith with a Y. I am your host, Meredith Willits, and today I have Kim Mosiman here, and she is an author and coach. She specializes in empowering women embarking on their second act. I'm telling you, this book is a how-to guide to get yourself straight. It doesn't matter what it is. This book is going to change your life, so stay with me as I talk to her. Hello, everyone. This is Meredith with a Y, and I am your host, Meredith Willits. Today, we are going to go deep, changing lives, and I am giving you the keys to the castle. If you're like me and you want your tretinoin today, you don't want your tretinoin in 6 months when you can get in with your dermatologist, click on the link in my bio in any of my social media accounts, and you will find out about CTC Sesame, which I am partnered with to sponsor this podcast. It is a telehealth discounted rate, large group buying power opportunity that not only do I have access to for all of my listeners and followers, but is actually offered for almost double at Costco. Double. And I can offer you, it's under $25 a month. You can use it for your kids. You can use it for birth control management, medications, scripts. It doesn't matter. College students, if you're not a citizen of the United States, if you have kids, if you have visitors, if you're visiting another state for a long period of time, their doctors and medical people are there available to you in those other states. You can, without a doubt, get an appointment within the next hour. Click the link in my bio. Check it out. CTC Sesame. I 100% recommend it. You can do telehealth, and it is amazing. But today, we have Kim Mosiman here talking about her book, Reflections of Joy, which is out now and available on her website, kimmosiman.com, or also available on Amazon. She's also willing to go and visit and read this thing because I'm telling you right now, it is chock full. Kim, thanks for being here with me today.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk.
I'm excited to talk to you too, because I'm telling you this right now. It's like usually I'm going to say 99.999% of the time, I don't have someone on that's like, and God and fellowship and all of that stuff. And as I read your book, you're like, and angel numbers and meditation. I'm like, okay, this girl is my kind of girl. She's blending both sides, because when I first like started thumbing through it, I'm like, oh geez, I don't know where I'm going to go. It's, very faith-based, but it's Meredith faith-based. It's like the faith in self, the faith in the practice. So I love this. This book is for everyone.
I that was my intent. I've always believed, in God. It's been a part of my life, but there's been so many times that I just have kind of put him on a shelf and not been in tune with my faith, but perhaps been more in tune with myself. And I've learned to pull the two together, just because I believe in God and because I believe in the words in that book doesn't mean that I can't trust myself and the intuition and my gut feelings. I think that for me, they're spirit driven. For someone else, you got to do you. That's this life. You got to do you, right?
So. Yeah. And I will tell you, it was, I think, this past year when I started getting messages with regard to we've heard so many times like of above, so below, blah, blah, blah. Right. And it was becoming very clear to me that the body is really your physical teller of what's going on in your head, in your heart, in your life. Like, if you're not willing to take care of yourself, like what else is going on in the world? Like if you are drowning yourself in donuts, what else is going on? So the body is like this really great place for communion, right? It's this really great place to practice all of the things and self-care, going for walks, which I love. You're like in the book you're talking about, there's like two things that I believe in. It was like God and walking. My God, that is so me. God and walking. If I don't walk every day, I'm going to be like a cat on a hot tin roof by 6:00 at night. Like my walk is my meditation. But I really started getting a lot of messages about the body's not like the second thought. It's
Right.
not this thing that doesn't matter. Like a lot of, like I've talked about here, spiritual people are like, oh, my meat suit. I'm like, no, you're meant to be a human. You're meant to be by way of humanity. You're meant to experience this planet by way of your human physical existence. And I love how you incorporate so much. So for those that are new here, you used to own a gym and have done 100 million things in the gym world. So can you talk about that for a second so people know where at least you're coming from?
Yeah. I started out my gym experience. Let me back up. When I was young, I was an athlete. I swam a lot. I was a good swimmer, and then I didn't. I mean, it's like we did it 365 days a
Yeah.
year, and like so many kids' sports, it's like you plunge 100% into it, and by the time it really matters, like scholarships and things, you're just over it.
Done. Yeah.
And I just took a complete walk away from fitness. But when you're young, you can do those things to your body, right? You can
Mm.
eat and you can have fun and you can have babies and you rebound. But eventually life catches up and I reached a point where I just wasn't happy and I started a gym program and I really loved feeling good again. And there were no restrictions. I ate because I was hungry. I mean, I was working out again and I was starving. And so I'm going to feed myself. And my body started to respond, and I just caught the bug. And, with the blessing of my family, we opened a gym, and for 7 years, we had a challenge gym, and people came in, took a picture, with desire to change. At the end of 9 weeks, there was a winner. We talked about food, and we talked about exercise, but the biggest thing was the community. I think people developed friendships, and they wanted to come work out.
Yeah.
In hindsight, after I closed the gym and I became one of those people who wanted to change, right? But I realized how many people were focused on the end goal. They weren't focused on enjoying the moment.
Yeah.
As the gym owner, I saw the changes that people made. I saw the way, their body was growing stronger and their pants were growing big or baggier.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't see it. I mean, they were just fixated on that little teeny tiny screen that was on the floor that said how much they weighed.
Yeah.
And, you reach your goals and all life's problems don't go away. And there's so much more to life than a size or a weight or whatever. And but it took me going through it to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think that weight loss, oddly, I think weight loss is an opportunity for you to be really selfish if you let yourself. Like, because you have to work really hard, especially as we get older, to lose 1 pound.
yeah,
Like, to delete 3,500 calories, which is the equivalent roughly of deleting 1 pound off of your body, that is not an easy task as we get older. You know what I mean? Like I
right.
remember it'd be like, okay, so I'm not going to eat pepperoni pizza this week and I'd lose 5 pounds, and like that's the way it like used to be. And I find it fascinating as I'm sitting here listening to myself and talking to you. It's like God's like, okay, I'll let you focus on yourself for a little bit when you're 20 to lose weight. But when you get to be 50 and you still are not focused on yourself, I'm going to make you really focus on yourself. I'm going to make it really intense. So it's not that our metabolism slows down. It's that God has swooped in and said, all right, you've never paid enough attention to yourself. I'm going to make you focus on yourself for a whole damn year. I like that. I like that idea that it's like, it's not about the time. It's about getting to you finally. And
Yeah.
I know for myself, that's like so true. Like I have to have my stash in the refrigerator. Like I have places all over the kitchen. It's like protein this and protein bars and fruits and yogurt. And I just went to Michigan for 3 days and didn't bring all of my stash. And
Mhm.
I felt so toxic when I came home because I was like, well, I literally have nothing to eat here. So I'm going to go to Burger King. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's a bit of a food desert up there, as they say.
Yep.
And like I'd go to the grocery store and they'd be closed already. I'm like, damn it, you know? And so yeah, I think that, you know, as we get older, and I've lost a lot of weight over this past year, it's due to focus on self.
Yeah.
I have to put myself first and say, okay, I'm coming downstairs. I'm going to have a protein yogurt. I'm going to take time for me to make this smoothie. I'm going to think about me and go for this walk, even though there's laundry that probably could be done. And so it's really learning to pivot towards self. And I'm such a better wife, mom, friend, everything when I do focus on self. And so many people think that they need to give of themselves to the point of complete and utter exhaustion to be a good wife and mother and friend. But what you're better off doing is giving to yourself. And then you have more to give to the people around you.
Yeah. And if people would realize that if you, instead of just giving of yourself, if you dive into those relationships, I mean, go for the walk,
Yeah.
but take a kid with you, I
Mhm.
mean, talk to them. Everything doesn't have to be scheduled and for a purpose.
Yeah.
And that's what I tried to put in my book. Do it because you like it. Do it with somebody you like, do it because it feels good. Eat it because it tastes good. But have those backups. I mean, ask my husband. My refrigerator's full all the time. There's two of us here. But if I don't come home and cut the celery and wash the radishes
Yeah.
and put things in a tub, nobody's going to eat them because
Right.
nobody wants to take the time to do it when they're hungry, right? I
Right.
mean, cook a whole chicken. There's nothing wrong with grabbing a piece of good protein and walking out the door. And because if I don't, I'm going to catch myself in that point where I'm driving through anywhere. And sure, you can say to yourself, "Oh, I can find good choices anywhere." Yeah, you can. But
Barely though.
when you're hungry, you're not going to make that good choice.
Yeah, you've lost your mind already. My
Yeah.
kids always laugh at me because like once a week my purse is like filled with like protein bars and stuff coming out of
Yeah.
the top of it. And what is that stuff called? Trail mix and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're like, where are you going that you need? I'm like, no, I'm packing my car. I
Yeah.
literally pack the side pocket of my door with like protein bars and trail mix because if I get hungry, you lose your mind. You're like, oh my God, I'm dying. I need X, Y. I need to stop. I'm never going to survive this. It's like, no, I have my stash to make good choices because I
Yep.
have to. I have to have that available or I will freak out. And then like bottles of water from, like refillable
Mhm.
bottles of water in the car with me. But it's true. It's like if, and as soon as I was getting ready to say this, it's like if we don't have anything positive to do, we do things negative. And what they're showing me in this moment is like, yeah, exactly like kids. If you don't give them rec centers, if you don't give them swimming pools, if you don't give them sports and things to do that are positive, they will find something to do, just like us with food. Like
Mhm.
it's like we're humans. We are meant to think and learn and do and grow and be and eat and experience. And if you say to your kids, like, just like, here's a town, go live in it. There's nothing to do here, but you're also not allowed to park at McDonald's because that's bad and you're loitering. It's like, okay. And then 10 years from now, you wonder why everyone's like ODing.
Right.
By the way, I'm speaking of my hometown. So there's that because they have turned down every bill to put in like a rec center for kids, and then they're wondering why they're all overdosing at 26. But I digress. But right, like that's the thing. Like if we don't
Yep.
have the positive, humans want to do what humans want to do, and so if you don't give yourself a healthy choice, then you're screwed.
Exactly. Exactly. And sometimes you got to be alone. Sometimes you got to be hanging out with other people, but find things to do that keep you growing, keep you engaged. It's
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
So what made you finally, or inevitably, I should say, put all of it down on paper? Like what were you like, all right, this isn't just for me. I want to share this with others because that's a big step. Like that's a big commitment.
I always thought I would write a book, but I thought I'd write a manual or like a how-to book,
Mm. I
do
don't
these
know. This
exercises.
is kind of how to once you guys get this
Yeah.
book. It's literally step by step, play by play, change your life for idiots book. Like it's pretty it's pretty well done.
Yeah, but you got so much wiggle room in there, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to tell you eat kale and chicken for lunch today. I mean,
Yeah.
like I'm just trying to throw out the options because ultimately you've got to do you. There's not a perfect diet. There, but there's a perfect diet for you. There's not perfect exercise, but there is for you.
Yeah.
There's not a perfect way to God, but there is for you. And once we start figuring out to listen to ourselves and to honor the things we like, we love, that taste good, that feel good for us, we don't have these problems anymore, right? Once I look in the mirror and I think Kim looks good, I love her.
Mm-hmm.
What do I care what somebody else thinks, right? And imagine the pressure that takes off a person, when they can finally look at themselves and say, I'm living the life completely, right? From faith to hobbies to food to exercise to what I do for a career. I'm doing it because it fulfills me and my purpose, right?
Yeah.
How amazing would that be? And, I like I said, I started to write a gym manual. I wanted to put in, do this, we do this at the gym, it works great. Eat this, we teach this at the gym, it works great. But as I look back, all these people who made incredible changes, they all did it, because I said, oh, cut this out or do this, and it was all very not prescriptive, but pretty well guided.
Mm-hmm.
And it eventually you want some ice cream, right?
Yeah.
And or you want the chocolate. And when you started to talk about how you have your stash, it's like so many people would stash like chocolate chips, in the freezer under everything, right? That's the kind of stash I thought you were talking about.
No, mine's protein bars.
Right. So
Raspberries.
yeah, more people need to do that. But freeze the raspberries, dip them in
Mm.
chocolate. I don't care. But you gotta love things. And if it
Yeah.
becomes I gotta earn it, it's just like telling your kids, oh, don't touch that iPad, right? You can't have the iPad. You gotta earn the iPad. Well, if you gotta earn your chocolate or you've got to earn your ice cream, all of a sudden it's like that forbidden thing that talks to you and calls you from, in the
Yeah.
middle of the night, and you're tired and you haven't eaten enough protein, and there it is. But if it's a part of your life and you don't punish yourself for it and you don't have to earn it, quite frankly, it doesn't talk to you quite so much, right? I
Because you're not
mean,
rebelling against something. Like,
right.
I actually was talking to a client about that this week about, like, people use the tools that they have. Kids use the tools they have to communicate. We use the tools that we have to feel better. And if when we were kids, our mom said, here, you had a bad day at school, here's a cookie, that might have been programming from childhood that says, when I feel bad, a cookie will make me feel better, right? And
Yep.
so then all of a sudden we get to adulthood and our metabolism tells us we have to take better care of ourselves.
You're right.
Then what happens is now all of a sudden we're like, you're not going to tell me what to do, or I need a cookie. Like, there's all this rebellion and programming and, information that we've had since childhood that says, if I have a bad day and I have a gallon of ice cream, then I will feel better. If then, right? Or maybe we had a mom that said, you're putting on a few too many pounds. I see we had to go up a size this year for school. You're going to give her the big FU. And now we have this like very, fighting against authority mentality when it comes to food or working out. It's like, I'm not going to work out. Screw you. Like, I'm in charge of my own body. Like, it becomes this whole thing. And what I tell people when I work with them, just client wise, I'm like, love yourself now. And this is what you also have in the book, but have a goal. Like, that's kind of
Right.
your whole book. Like, love you today. My
Yep.
body works. I can walk or I can't walk. I can move my arms or I can't. But I love where I've gotten. I'm still alive. I'm still on this planet, but I still have goals. And these are my goals. And I'm only going to do it for me. The other thing I think people get screwed up with, as I know is doing it for their kids, for, their husband, for society. I didn't start to get healthy until I ignored everyone around me. And I walk, like I said, I walk because for my mental health more than anything, and to get my puppy out of the house. Right. I don't walk to lose weight. I walk because it makes me feel better. It makes me a better person. I eat better now because of the fact I realized that I'm not like, my sugar's not all over the place, that I don't feel toxic at the end of the day, that I don't have headaches, that I don't XYZ. And so I think that people, when they are in this state of hating themselves, you can't get to where you want to go by hating the vehicle that you're going to get there in. Like
Right.
you need to love yourself enough to walk. You need to love yourself enough to take the time to make a salad or grill food or go to the grocery store and make healthy choices. That takes a commitment of love of self
Yeah.
to do those things. And I think that's what, you can't hate yourself enough thin. You cannot. You
Right.
cannot hate yourself enough skinny, because someone that hates themselves is not going to put on the workout shoes and go to the gym and drive, and they're not going to hate themselves enough to do that. But you can love yourself enough to do that.
Yeah. And the people who don't come to that conclusion, they're going to do it. They're going to spend the money and join the gym on January 1st, and they're going to be there with 200,000 other people. and it's not going to last because they don't like it. Pick the thing you like to do, whatever
Right.
it is. Kayak, walk, find a running buddy. I kickboxed, I don't anymore.
Yes.
I love it, but I was dealt genetic arthritis and it hurts, and so if I can't do it all the way, I'm going to do something else that I can do all the way and that I love.
Yeah.
It's just, and dieting's the same way. People are like, I have to do this, right? Mark a date on the calendar and I've got to be in this dress by this day and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there. Well, you spend all the time to get there hating life, eating crap that you don't even love. When there's delicious food that does good things for your body too, you don't have to eat diet food and you don't have to take away everything that tastes good in your life.
Yeah, there's this thing I don't, it's from my hospital, like my doctor group or whatever they sent me. And it was, I forget what it's even called. It was like, I did it for like 5 minutes and then it becomes tedious again. Like as soon as I felt like I didn't want to do this weight loss program through my healthcare unit, I was like, I'm out. But one of the things that they said that stuck with me, and I've actually talked to someone else and they're like, they brought it up the same thing too, was eat what you like first. Like we, especially if you're like a Gen Xer, you a boomer, you were raised on clean your plate, right?
Yeah.
And so when you cleaned your plate, you saved the best for last because you knew you had to make your way through the pork chop and the broccoli to get to the mashed potatoes, right?
Yep.
And because you had to eat it all, you might as well eat the best last. And what this program taught was eat the thing you like first, because you might just be full at the end of that. You don't want to eat it last. And I thought that was really interesting. And I have incorporated it into my eating experience where I might just split an appetizer with Jim just to pretend like I ate real food and then be like, I'm getting the bread pudding and we can split the bread pudding too, but I will be eating the bread pudding today, like PS.
Yep.
So I will 100% be completely focused on dessert when we go out to dinner. And I'm okay with that because I'm not eating dessert at my house,
Right.
Monday through Friday. And here they have this like amazing flambe XYZ. And so I'm like, I'm deep in the dessert and I'm okay with that because I'm not going to have a steak and a potato and, 3 beers and a salad that I really didn't want. Why are we eating salads that we don't want? I don't even eat salad.
No, see, I really enjoy it. But as you talk about that, like my husband and I used to make fun of his parents because they'd like split a meal, right? We're doing it all the time now. I mean, who in heaven's name needs a 24-ounce ribeye, right?
Literally.
So we buy like one beautiful steak and, we love a wedge salad. I mean, I don't know, but for me, like who doesn't love blue cheese, that, right? Yeah. And so, you have a steak, you have a salad, and then you share whatever dessert you decide right there. Like you managed what could be. Once upon a time, I would have eaten it all, right? Yeah. And now I might even take over leftovers from my half. I just think, but if I were to sit down and have just that salad with dressing on the side and, a piece of mediocre chicken, I might leave the restaurant and go home and dive headfirst into ice cream because I didn't even let myself enjoy the experience of being out with my husband.
Right, because it's takeaway, negotiation, feeling shame, feeling
Yep.
guilt, feeling disgusted about yourself. Then you get in and you're like, why did I even do that? That was so dumb.
Mhm.
I was bad. Oh
Right.
God, I hate when people say, oh, I was so bad when I ate that. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's food. But I get
Right.
it. I get all the mentalities. We've all done all the mentalities if you've ever
Oh,
struggled with weight.
absolutely.
You have the shame game down pat. But yeah,
Yeah.
I just sit there and go, I could eat 500 calories of salad with dressing, or I could eat 500 calories of bread pudding. I'm going full bread pudding every time. Like, I'm sorry, I just am,
Yep.
and I don't really love eating salads, unless I'm out, like I'll choose a salad, but I make a smoothie with green powder and red powder and protein powder and kale, frozen kale, and all this other crap from Costco. I'd rather just drink a smoothie than make a salad because I get exhausted. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired of chewing. I'm dead. But like today, I'm going out to lunch. I most likely will have a salad because someone else is making it, blah, blah, blah. But I think we also get in this rut that you're supposed to do something or you should be doing something with regard to the way that you eat. And I think that we've been taught from a very young age that we need a lot more food than we actually need. Like
Mm.
at my age, I think I literally probably need like 1,500 calories a day to not gain weight. Like I need very little food to survive. I'm not growing anymore. At least I hope not.
Right. Right.
And then add on top of that a 3-mile walk. That's sustainable. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
it's just like I think that we have had such bad information. You're bad if you don't clean your plate. You're bad if you do this. Like it's just good or bad. But with your book, I want to talk about the fact that this isn't a weight loss book. It's not a weight gain book. It's not a workout book. There are recipes. There are ways to do all of this stuff. But I think what's important is that this is a book to really finding self
Mm-hmm.
when you think maybe, oh, I'm 50, I'm done, or I can't change, or like this is just who I am. And you really go through this book talking about like undoing all of that you are just getting started in your quote second act. So can you
Yep.
talk about that?
Yeah. I love being a mother, and that was, absolutely the very best job I've ever had in my whole life. And I was fully engaged, right? I mean, sometimes, like most parents, you're running from work to be there for the kids and to run the kids around. And my husband and I never questioned, should we let him do this or should we let him do that? Or what's the ROI
Yeah.
on, a new pair of tennis shoes or a camera or whatever. And once they were gone and I had the time for myself, and quite frankly, I'm retired, right? So I have time myself. What's to stop me from learning?
Yeah.
And during those first few years after I closed the gym, I was floundering. I had always taken care of people, whether it was at my job or at my home. I was always caring for people. And all of a sudden, I've got myself. My husband's still working, my kids are gone or at college or married and living their own lives. And here's Kim, and she had nothing to do but read novels. I read like 64 in the first month that I
Wow.
didn't open the gym because I had nothing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm here by myself and oh, I'm not doing anything. So let's open a bottle of wine. Let's have a glass of white where you're reading the book at lunchtime, and pretty soon I'm not taking the walks and I'm not doing the things, right? And I had to take a sharp turn and decide I'm going to do some things that engage my brain and get me out of the house when my husband's still working. And so, I've taken photography classes and I took Tai Chi, which was so hard. I have goals to go back because I did not figure it out. I started writing a book. I just all of these things, engaging in workshops and learning. And there are so many things that I've discovered, A, that I'm good at, and B, that I like to do. Why should I just fade off into the sunset? Why should I sit here and watch bad TV or scroll through my phone when I can be growing and helping other people and engaging in whatever life I have left.
Yeah.
It just, there's so much more to do. 50's by far done, right?
Yeah.
So we might as well have fun. Too busy
Yeah.
working when we're young. You might as well do something when you don't have to work.
Yeah. I
Right?
actually just talked to a client about that the other day and was like, your kid's at college and like, what are you going to do? Like, who are you? What are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like, I think when we are a stay-at-home mom or we are a parent and then we do have like, our first career, so to speak, like it's okay to have more interests. I talked to someone recently and they were talking about how they were taking a dance class. And I
We
was
did
like,
that too.
I'm like, I would never even think of taking like a dance class at my age, but damn, that would be fun. Like you can take the pottery class, the painting class, the dance class, the business class, whatever it is. You can go get a job just for the sake of hanging out with girlfriends at, your local boutique or whatever,
Yep.
or a flower decorating class. Like it's important to continue to be curious and learn and engage and spend time in community. And I think a lot of times when we become empty nesters, if we have put a ton of focus on our kids, we forget that we're a whole person without them. We are a
Right.
whole ass person without being Brock's mom, or Emerson's dad. Like you have to have your own life. And I just did some, videos recently here on TikTok. And the thing of it is that we need to realize that we're allowed to have our own interests, and it's important to have our own interests. It's important that we stay engaged and we be a whole person,
Mhm.
like it's all right to, but this is where I think it starts. If you're listening out there and you're in your 20s and 30s and you have young kids, I tell all the moms, especially the stay-at-home moms, get one day a week that your kid goes to a sitter so that you can do something that you enjoy, or at least go to TJ Maxx without a crying kid where you're so distracted. Like it's okay to be a whole person and still be a mom and a wife. Like it's all
Yeah.
right. You're allowed to do that. It's important to do that.
Yep. I talk a little bit in my book about morning pages, and I do my morning pages faithfully. And it's something that was formally put into practice by Julia Cameron. It's a book, and she says sit down and write 3 pages free flowing every morning, which I do, and it clears the clutter. It makes me more creative. It makes my prayer time and my scripture time or my meditation time far more purposeful, because I don't have like all these things I have to do ping ponging off my brain.
Mm-hmm.
But she also recommends that you take an artist break. And it's
Yeah.
exactly what you're saying right here. Give yourself an hour every week to just explore or do something just by yourself. And don't do it with someone else. I mean, like, go out into the world, take a class, wander through a shop, wander through a park, just whatever it is. You have to have time for you if you're going to be the best you can be for everybody else. It's so hard when you have kids at home.
Yeah.
And 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 unfortunately, when you reach middle age and there are no kids at home, so many people just keep going through the same motions, and there's just, I don't know, I don't want to fade away, and I don't want to become dull, and I don't want to figure that all I've experienced is all I'm ever going to experience in this life.
Right before
So,
you just said, I don't want to become dull, you know what just went through my, like, I don't want to become angry.
yeah, resentful.
Wow.
What
Right?
didn't I get to do? What did that keep me from? Go
Yeah.
go do it. I mean, the
Well, and
world would
too,
be
like,
so much happier if people would just, like,
yeah,
find moments of self-time.
self and half. Yeah. But it's so interesting because so many people are like, I gave my whole life to my children and my husband, and they like play this martyr role. It's like,
Mm,
yeah, 10 years ago, you've had 10 years. Now, what are you doing with your life? Like move on, like do the thing. Like you're allowed to do the thing. I usually am insanely busy, especially in the evening because my kids play 102 sports. Not my choice. And like the other day, I was going through, I think it was Home Goods, and I was like perusing the aisles, and I was like, I'm actually not rushed right now. Like I had
mhm.
to kill time because I think it was like between pickup and drop off. So I had to like wait, right? I had to spend an hour. And I was like, this is really kind of nice. Like usually I'm like I need towels, get out. Like even at a home goods store, like I'm in it. And it's like, wow, this is kind of nice. I'm like taking time for myself. And I looked through some shirts. I actually tried on clothes at the store versus I'll take them home and try them on and return everything I don't want. Like rush, right? Like hurry, grab, go. And I think it is really important that, we recognize that this is our life and we can raise children and we can have a household and we can do a job and we can do all the things. But getting used to self-care, getting used to these practices that you talk about in your book, so that when it is time to pivot, you're not angry. You do have a whole life that is just yours. You do have interests. You do have whatever the thing is that you know how to do without a schedule or kids or driving or a job or a spouse even. And you're like, okay, this is how I want to create my life. And I think that that's what's so good about this book is it really helps people to create a whole life by way of self-care and thinking about yourself and thinking about the things that you like to do, which might not be easy for everyone when you've lived your whole life in service of others. It's hard to think about yourself and pivot like that. So that's one of the reasons I love it.
Yeah, it's very hard. But, I have a ritual I go through now. I mean, like I owned a gym, I helped people change. Habit forming, positive habit forming is good for me. So I wake up and every day I do the same thing, right? It's water, then I write, then I walk, and when I walk, I talk to God and I pray. And it's so much easier when I'm wintering in Florida by a beautiful beach than when I'm in Iowa and it's raining and there's pollen everywhere. But I still do it. And then, I just get on with my day. And people say, oh, you're retired. You can make time for the things that are important to you. And it just, I don't know. I think there's so many opportunities for us. And that's in the book. I try not to say there's a right way. I really try to say there's not a black and there's not a white. There's not a right way. There's a right way for you. And so just because this works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for Meredith. It doesn't mean it's going to work for my mom or my sister or whoever's listening. But there are all these opportunities to explore, to create a life that works for you, that makes you happy. And self-care is far more than a bubble bath once a week, right?
Or getting your nails done or going to a hair appointment. It's so different than that. And I thought it was the bubble bath and the, face mask with your hair in a towel. That's not self-care. Self-care starts the second your feet hit the floor and is 24 hours. It's good sleep. It's, it's all the things. It's putting yourself first. Basically, it's saying that my needs matter. And as women, I think a lot of times we forget that because we're in survival mode for such a long time raising kids that it's hard to get out of survival mode. And it's hard to remember that, oh, I feel like this because I'm in survival mode right now. And that can be really harmful. And your cortisol levels take a shit, which means you're going to gain weight. So it's all streams together. This is not, there's no such thing as compartmentalizing any part of your life. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything, period.
Exactly. And if you put your own air mask on first, right, you can help far more people.
Yeah.
So, make the time for yourself, even if it means getting up 30 minutes early. I mean, like, I know it sounds like drudgery, but heck, if the house is quiet and you get time for you, real time for you, it's so worth it.
So worth it. And I know a lot of women that do that. They're like, it's so quiet. I get a few hours to myself, but that's someone that really loves themselves. That's someone that really puts their needs first over everything else. And so I think that's really important. But I so appreciate you being here with me today. If anyone else out there in the podcast world is listening and would like to have Kim on, she is doing book tour, book marketing right now. She is a new author. She would love to be invited out to your women's event out. Where are you at? You're in Omaha or
I'm in Ames.
You're in Ames. That's right.
Yep. I'm in Iowa.
She's in Ames, Iowa. So any college stuff, libraries, women's groups, it doesn't matter men's groups. It doesn't matter what it is. She's wanting and willing to come out and talk about her book. She's starting a book club June 1st. It's going to be like a private book club. So like once you get in, then you're in a safe space to talk and have conversations with like-minded people who are trying to work through some of this stuff. And we're going to be using Kim's book as like the workbook, right? We're going to be using that as kind of like a workbook in this this book club. So check her out on Facebook if you're not already following her. It's at Kim Mosiman, and that's Moisman.
Mosi.
Mosi.
Yep. Man.
And so she's going to be there. All of this is going to be in the show notes so you can find her. So if you're interested in doing a book club, you're going to order the book from Amazon or her. She'll package it all in some nice package. And then you guys will go through the book together, invite your sister, your mom, your girlfriends, whatever. This is a great opportunity to connect and really start to find maybe the pockets in your life that you want to make some changes and adjustments. And she's got a lot of great ideas. It was funny. I was talking to my sister the other day, and she was talking about doing like a bachelorette for this girl that we know. And she had it this whole like weekend. I go, how about you just go to a comedy club? Like, let's boil this down. We're all grown women. No one needs a real ass bachelorette in Vegas at 50, you know? And she was like, that's actually a really great idea. Like, it doesn't need to be a strip club, like a comedy show, dinner, drinks. It's like, she's like, that's brilliant. So sometimes you just need other people to give you really great ideas to live your best life. And this is an opportunity with this book club and this book to not take everything with you, but to take the things that resonate and that you need. And that's what this book is. It's a lot of really great ideas that you're going to take with you that may or may not work, but you can leave the ones you don't like and take the ones you do. She's everything from, I wouldn't say religious, but I would say like inspired, like you said, scripture type things that you have written in there that I've read through and like, but you also have a lot of spiritual stuff in there. Faith, by the way, that I define it, which is like faith in the experience. It's not like, oh, faith with your hands in prayer. It's faith, like true, moving, daily practice faith of like knowing it's all going to kind of work out if you just do the steps. And I love that for your readers. So yeah, Meredith approved book.
Thanks, Meredith.
I love it. I love everything that's in there. She's even got recipes in the back that I'm like all about. So like she doesn't miss a beat. But thanks so much for being here. Everyone go get your book at Amazon. It is Reflections of Joy. So go check that out. And if you're out there and you want to have Kim come join you and talk about all these great things, please reach out to her. Check the show notes. But yeah, thanks for being here today.
Oh, it's been great. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. I'll see you guys here next week. Thank you. Thanks for listening. If you would like to connect on a more personal level, head over to meredithwillits.com or on Instagram at Meredith with a Y for behind-the-scene footage and outtakes. Please subscribe and come back each week for more Meredith with a Y. Thanks again for listening.